YouTube, how we doing, family? It's your boy, Yo, and this is another episode of Yo Hoops. I go through every NBA game every day. Today's Friday, November 21st, and we have a 9-game NBA card. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts, let you know what sides I like, and stick around, because I'll let you know my highlighted play of the day. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's recap. Recapping yesterday, we swept the card 5-0 and of course cashed our highlighted play of the day. We took the Orlando Magic laying 5.5 points against the LA Clippers. Love the way the Magic are playing. They've now won 5 of their last 6, and with Kawhi Leonard out, this was a tall order for LA. 4 of Orlando's 5 starters had 15 or more points, solid outing for the entire team. Final score was 129-101 Magic. We also cashed with De'Aaron Fox points, Jalen Johnson rebounds and assists, the Sixers money line, and the Grizzlies money line. What did I tell you? Maxi's going for 40 also. Relatively light card, but still got 20 times my money on the parlay, so nice little 5-0 day. This isn't my favorite card tonight. We've got another edition of the NBA Cup, and I'm seeing a lot of efficient lines, but I'll break down my thoughts and let you know my highlighted play per usual. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. In our first matchup, we have the Indiana Pacers in Cleveland taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs are minus 1,000 on the money line, and the total is 238.5. The Cavs do come into this one slightly banged up, but the injury situation is definitely worse for the Pacers. You're without Halliburton and Toppin for the season. Now Nesmith, Furphy, and Quentin Jackson are all ruled out. I already thought Indiana was overhyped with all their guys in. Now I'm really worried. I mentioned before that the Cavs are a regular season try-hard team. Against this shell of a Pacers squad, I think they win it by 20 plus, no problem. Darius Garland has been upgraded to questionable. He may play, and in their last cup game, he dropped 20 and 9 en route to a 33-point win. I should mention Cleveland did drop their first cup game outright in a similar situation against the Raptors, but they were without Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Jared Allen. They're currently 5-11 against the spread, bottom 5 in the league. I definitely don't expect them to be that bad against the spread all season. Let's start the day off strong. I'm taking the Cavs laying the 14 points as my highlighted selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Brooklyn Nets in Boston taking on the Boston Celtics. Celtics are minus 1,200 on the money line, and the total is 222.5. We saw this same matchup in Brooklyn on Tuesday, and the Celtics won that one 113-99. The Celtics were able to pull away late, but if you watch that game, it was closely contested for 3.5 quarters. In Boston, they should get the dominant win, especially with Cam Thomas out, but rather than taking a side, I'm looking at a player prop. I should have done it on Tuesday, but they're not fooling me twice. I'm taking Michael Porter Jr. to go over 22.5 points. He's quickly emerged as Brooklyn's leading scorer, and he's hit this line in 6 of their last 7 games, including against Boston. He's averaging 24 points on the season. Love the spot. In our next matchup, we have the Washington Wizards in Toronto taking on the Toronto Raptors. Raptors are minus 1,000 on the money line, and the total is 240.5. Like I said, I'm not in love with this card overall, and this game is a perfect example why. Should the Raptors get the dominant win at home? Obviously, yes, but do I want to lay 14 points? Probably not. They're on a pretty significant win streak, 9-1 in their last 10, but at the same time, they only won 2 of those by 14 or more points. We haven't seen the Raptors blowing teams out, and considering the Wizards are 3-11 against the spread, I would assume they have to cover at some point. Probably a game I'm staying away from, but I'll lean to the Wizards plus the 14, and probably a sprinkle on the money line as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Miami Heat in Chicago taking on the Chicago Bulls. Bulls are minus 140 on the money line, and the total is 250. It looks like Bam Adebayo is back in the lineup for Miami, but now Andrew Wiggins and Nikola Jovic are both ruled out. Kobe White is listed as questionable for the Bulls, but even if he doesn't play, I like the squad Chicago's fielding more. Rather than taking a side, though, I'm looking at the total. Sure, both of these teams can score the ball, but 250 is 63 points a quarter. If we see 5 minutes of defensive play, it's going to set us 7 points below this total. Bam being back in the lineup actually makes me like it more since he's the best rim protector on the floor. I'm taking the Heat and Bulls under 250 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the New Orleans Pelicans in Dallas taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Mavs are minus 170 on the money line, and the total is 233.5. We got the cover with both of these teams on Wednesday, but I would say I was more impressed with what I saw from New Orleans. Almost got that outright win against the Nuggets, and a 30-point game from Derek Queen is a pretty good sign. We already know Dallas is in trouble. Cooper Flagg's even complaining about playing point. It almost makes more sense if you're the Mavs to just throw this season away and tank. Who knows when AD will be healthy? Bottom of the barrel game, not one I'll be throwing a ton of money on, but considering Zion's back and they're playing in decent form, I'll lean to the Pels. Give me the Pelicans plus a 4.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves in Phoenix taking on the Phoenix Suns. Wolves are minus 175 on the money line, and the total is 233. Phoenix has looked surprisingly sharp. They're currently 9-6 straight up, and what surprises me is Devin Booker's only averaging 27 points. The same can actually be said for Minnesota. They're 10-5, and Ant is only averaging 25. I see this being a competitive game, Cup night in Phoenix, but rather than taking a side, I'm looking at a couple props. I mentioned we've seen Booker and Ant-Man relatively quiet to start this season. I think tonight, both teams rely on their stars, and we see a 30-piece from both. We've got injuries on both sides that are going to force these guys to score, and their lines are set a bit lower since they haven't been hitting. I'm taking Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards to each go over 27.5 points. All-star level talent, 28 points isn't asking much. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Denver Nuggets in Houston taking on the Houston Rockets. Rockets are minus 140 on the money line, and the total is 235.5. This is a really good game, but more one I'll be watching as a fan. Looking at the injury report, Aaron Gordon is listed as probable he should go, while Steven Adams and Jabari Smith are both listed as questionable. At first glance, I was leaning towards Houston. They have won their last 5 straight games at home, but I can't overlook their backcourt. Amen Thompson and Josh Okogie as your starting guards aren't going to cut it against Jamal Murray and Cameron Johnson. Joker's obviously a better center than Sengun, and in 2025, I can't even say KD's leagues ahead of Aaron Gordon. Like I said, more one I'll be watching as a fan, but I'll have a few dollars on Denver. I'm taking the Nuggets plus a 2.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder in Utah taking on the Utah Jazz. Thunder minus 1,400 on the money line, and the total is 234. These lines are almost getting comical. Sure, the Thunder can win this game by 40 points, but when they end up winning it by 16, then I'm an idiot. It all comes down to how Mark Dagnall rotates his bench. Then we have to worry about if the Jazz show up or not. They played their best basketball at home. They're currently 6-1 against the spread in Salt Lake City. I really don't want to lay 17 points against them. Now, the Thunder have failed to cover multiple spreads in a row, so this is a perfect spot to get the dominant win, but I can't bet them to do so at this current moment with Dub and Aaron Wiggins out. A lean at best, but I'll lean to the Jazz plus a 16.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our last and final matchup, we have the Portland Trailblazers in Golden State taking on the Golden State Warriors. Warriors are minus 330 on the money line, and the total is 238. This is one of those situations where I definitely think the Warriors win the game, but I also think the Blazers keep it within the number. If you really think about it, the Warriors are ran by old heads. Jimmy, Steph, and Draymond, their average age is 36. You throw Al Horford in that jaunt, you're talking about retirement. The Blazers are a young emerging team. Shadon Sharp's averaging 22 points, and Danny Adge is looking like a prime Luka Doncic. I still have faith in Steph. He's the reason why the Warriors can compete in any game, but I think we're past the point where we automatically lay double digits against Portland. I'm taking the Blazers plus the 8 as my last and final selection. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Awesome to get the 5-0 sweep yesterday, but I look to keep the momentum rolling tonight. 14, 12, and 1 highlighted in November. Let's finish the month with a bang. I appreciate the support so much. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'm going to catch y'all. Peace.